Tip-off for Texas Tech men's basketball is less than 40 days away, and in today's video, we'll discuss their Big 12 schedule, including 2 3-game stretches that are as difficult as any team will face in the country this season. Plus, there's a new addition to the Texas Tech men's basketball roster. Who is he? We'll discuss that and much more in today's video. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And listen, if you're excited about Texas Tech men's basketball in 2024, 2025, just like I am, damn it, I wish tip-off was tomorrow. Damn, not even tomorrow, right now. If you're as excited as I am, like the video. And hey, if you want to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, like the video, like I said, but hit that subscribe button as well. More than double the other channels here, and we're by far the most interactive. So if you want to join the Back to 12 squad today, just follow those 3 simple steps that I just laid out. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. All right, let's jump into it, and we are going to start with the latest addition to the Texas Tech men's basketball roster. You can go on over to the Texas Tech men's basketball website, and you might notice a name that you didn't see before, and that would be that of Air Force transfer Corbin Green. He is 6'5", a junior. He averaged 2.7 points and 2.8 rebounds last year at Air Force and has a grand total of 46 career blocks. Now, it's not entirely sure if he got a scholarship. I would presume right now, and again, this is not official, but he is a walk-on. At least that is my early, looking into it, right? He is a Midlothian, Texas native, and if you look at his accolades while at Air Force, kind of impressive. During his freshman year, he was named Mountain West Freshman of the Week after scoring 15 points and having 4 blocks against Montana after beginning his career with 17 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists in the season opener against the University of Southern California upstate. Now, he will have 2 years of eligibility remaining, and when you watch this guy's tape, and we have it posted over on the Scarlet and Black Insider, and we were actually the first ones to notice that and let y'all know about it, so head on over there if you want to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech men's basketball. But he's built dude is built like a freaking tank. There's no other way to say it. He's 6'5", he's athletic. How much is he going to play? I don't know, but you can see some of the traits that, Grant McCasland likes in some of these guys in terms of it looks like he's got that dog in him. And I feel like a lot of people use that, but he just plays physical. He always seems to be at the right place at the right time on the court. Is he the most athletic? No. Does he have the most gifts in terms of ball handling, shooting, or anything like that? No. But you can tell the hustle's there. I don't know how much he'll play, but it's an interesting addition to a roster that had, 2 open scholarships going into this season. I like this late ad for the Red Raiders. If anything, it's 6'5". He's versatile. He can come in and play defense potentially for you. And he's, produced in the Mountain West. And as we talked about here on this channel, the Mountain West is a lot better of a basketball conference than people give it credit for. So that is the latest edition, and I would bet that is the last edition for Texas Tech going into the 2024-2025 season. That will most likely be it for the Red Raiders. Now, before we jump into the schedule, we got to shout out today's video sponsor, and that is Home Field Apparel. You're telling me right now you don't love those images on your screen right now? They're downright sexy, if you ask me. That Long Live the Matadors red hoodie, spicy. Game Day in Raiderland, spicy vintage graphic tee. Don't get me even started on that long sleeve Texas Tech football 1976 long sleeve right there, and the Texas Tech socks. Everything in there you are going to love, and the best part about it, if you use the promo code BACK212, you can save 15% off your entire order. They have a bunch of hats. They have a bunch of vintage tees. Everything you need going into, the back half of Texas Tech football season and into Texas Tech men's basketball season, they've got you covered. So go get your new favorite t-shirt, hoodie, hat, and much more over on homefieldapparel.com, and be sure to use the promo code BACK212 to save, 15% off your entire purchase. All right, let's jump into the schedule now for the Red Raiders. This is the graphic from Texas Tech men's basketball Twitter and their website. And listen, I'm just going to be flat out honest with y'all. Holy shit, this thing is hard. My goodness. The Big 12, we thought it was a gauntlet last year. This is by far the best the Big 12 conference has ever been, with the additions of Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and Arizona State. This schedule is absolutely nightmare fuel for really any coach. So you start off, if you're the Red Raiders, you see that on New Year's Eve against UCF at home on a Tuesday. You then head out to Utah for back-to-back games starting in Salt Lake City on the 4th. Then you head out to, well, BYU, Provo, just right down the road on January 7th. Shout out to my mom. That's her birthday. Then you head home to face off against the Cyclones of Iowa State on Saturday, January 11th. You then face off against the Wildcats of Kansas State in Manhattan to only face the other Wildcats just a few days later back home. That 3-game stretch right there is absolutely sick. That is sicko type stuff right there by the Big 12 scheduling crew. That is sicko type stuff. And the worst part about it is you have Cincinnati right after that. So you go back home and face Arizona, a team that easily could be in the Sweet 16, to face off against another team in the Cincinnati Bearcats on the road that could be in the Sweet 16. You have a 4-game stretch there against Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona, and Cincinnati, where it would not shock me at all if all 4 of those teams or any of those teams make the second weekend. That's how difficult that part of the schedule is. Then, well, you come back home and you have a nice little, 3 out of 4 at home, right? Now, sprinkled in there, you go down to Houston on the start of February, but you do have Oklahoma State at home, TCU at home, and then another team right there in the Baylor Bears at home after you go down to Houston. And Houston and Baylor, it would not shock me if they're in the Final Four. That's how good they are. But don't get it twisted. It doesn't end there. Then you have to go to Tucson. That 3-game stretch right there of Houston, Baylor, and Arizona could legitimately be 3 teams in the Elite Eight. No joke. That is absolutely ridiculous in terms of that 3-game stretch. That 3-game stretch right there might be the hardest 3-game stretch any team in the country plays all year. You're talking about 3 teams right there that will most likely, when the first AP poll comes out, be in the top 12 at worst. Probably top 10 right there. Then you face Arizona State at home. Then you head up to Stillwater and Fort Worth, a.k.a. Lubbock East, there to face off against the Horned Frogs. You head back home for a 2-game homestand against the Mountaineers, and then a team that could be the number 1 team in the country in the preseason in Houston. And if they're not the number 1 team in the country, you probably face them on March 1st, and that's the Kansas Jayhawks, where you head up to Lawrence and play them on Saturday, March 1st. Then you head back home to face off against the Colorado Buffaloes, a team that lost a lot of talent, but again is a sneaky good opponent. And then you finish off your season off in Tempe against Bobby Hurley and the Fighting Arizona State Sun Devils. I'm telling you right now, when I looked at this schedule, the first thing I thought of was just, and again, I know some people don't like this here on the channel when I curse, but the first word that came to my mind was just holy shit. Like, the Big 12, we already knew was a gauntlet, right? We knew the Big 12 was going to be difficult. We knew that these schedules were just going to be lunacy. But actually seeing it on paper in the format that it's actually going to happen is nuts to me. I mean, this is crazy. Again, think about this stretch. In early January, I should say mid-January, actually, and I'm reading off the screen right here to make sure I get this right. You play Iowa State at home. You go to Manhattan. Then you play Arizona in Lubbock. And then you go to Cincinnati. That 3-game, 4-game stretch right there, if you want to include Cincinnati, is bonkers. I mean, it's bonkers right there. And then, you get 2 games, quote unquote, off. I say off. Every team in the Big 12 is going to be good. Oklahoma State will be much improved this year even as well. You face them at home, then you face TCU at home, and then you have arguably the hardest 3-game stretch in all of college basketball, and that's not a hyperbole. That's not trying to boost Texas Tech in any kind of way. This is sicko-type stuff. You play Houston, Baylor, and then, you face Arizona again out in Tucson. Sicko type stuff by the Big 12. I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself in terms of, obviously I haven't gone to look at every other schedule in the Big 12, but just looking at this Texas Tech schedule, right? If Texas Tech wins 8 games in the Big 12, they 100% are a tournament team. And you play 20 this year. That's what makes it so difficult. There's no bye week. Really, the only bye week you get if you're Texas Tech is because you play on a Monday in Lubbock against Houston, right? And then you kind of get a little bit of a bye there, or on Saturday, right? And then you play on Saturday is what I'm trying to say after that. Like, that's your bye week. You don't really get that week off because remember, there's been times in the Big 12 and you had it as Well, early as last year, where you may play on like a Tuesday and then you don't play again until that next Monday, right? You had the weekend off kind of in a way. That's not the case anymore. You have 20 tournament games, 20. And there is going to be at least in the games you have in this conference now, there's 16 teams. It would not shock me at all if you're talking about 10, 11, and maybe in a crazy year, 12 teams in the Big 12 making the NCAA tournament. This conference is absolutely ludicrous, bonkers loaded from top to bottom. There is not a conference remotely close. This is in its own stratosphere of difficulty. Okay, again, if you go 8-12 in the Big 12 in the 20 conference games you play, depending on who you beat, you should be a tournament team. It's that loaded this year, right? Obviously, I think when you look at it, I think you could have a team that goes 13-7 win the Big 12 this year, maybe 14-6, right? Like, you're going to lose games in conference play just because of how difficult it is to play on the road in this conference. And Texas Tech has an absolute gauntlet this year, as I put it back on your screen for you real quick. Again, you go on the road to the following schools. BYU, that's no joke right there. I know they got a new coach, but no joke right there. Jerome Tang and crew went spending in the portal. That is a top 25 basketball team. Cincinnati is all kinds of legit. Remember what they did to Texas Tech last year, albeit Texas Tech was injured a little bit out in Lubbock, but Cincinnati is much improved as well. Then you go to arguably the best team in the country in the Houston Cougars a week after that. Then you go to Arizona, and then you play at Kansas. So you could make the argument that you play at 3 of the top 4 teams in the country's venues at some point this year. The only one that you kind of avoid in this situation is Waco. And then if you want to lump in Iowa State, which you should 100% do. So you play at 3 of the top 5 teams in the country's venue. Jeez, man, it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm excited as hell to watch it, but it is an absolute freaking gauntlet. And I wish they tipped off tomorrow. I really do. I'm excited as hell. And if you're excited about Texas Tech men's basketball in 2024, 2025, JT Toppin, Darion Williams, Chance McMillan, year number 2 of Grant McCasland, all I ask you to do is simply like the video. And if you want to join the Back to 12 squad, the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, and the best part about this channel, well, there's 2 actually. It's 100% free, and we're going to give you authentic takes about everything Texas Tech football and men's basketball related all year long. So join the Back to 12 squad today by doing these 3 simple steps. Just simply like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell.